My name is Kazem Alamdari. I'm monitoring this session. We have two authentic topics to be discussed, and both are somehow related to each other. There are one common base about Iranian abroad, one in the Netherlands and the other one in Dubai. So the Samaneh Khademi, the topic for her paper is challenge and opportunities experienced by Iranian refugees, entrepreneurs in the Netherlands. That's a very interesting topic. And the second topic is by Fatemeh Faroughi, Miss Fatemeh Faroughi. It's International Baccalaureate schools and Persian students' knowledge of their mother tongue, the case of understanding Persian metaphors, and the International Baccalaureate diploma program students in Dubai. And both are actually field studies, and they have done by mostly interview and questionnaires. Okay, let's begin with you. How about that?
Okay, thank you. First, thanks for coming to this presentation. And today I would like to share with you part of my PhD study. And as you see, we have different titles here. Navigating Inclusion, the experience of Iranian refugee entrepreneurs in the Netherlands. Well, I have changed the topic and make it more specific make it more specific for today's talk. As I told you, is a part of a wider project, PhD project study. And in the PhD project, we focus on integration, inclusion, intersectionality, translocational positionality of refugee entrepreneurs in Netherlands. And one group study was Iranian group, and actually refugee entrepreneurs with Iranian background. The research question is, how do entrepreneurs with an Iranian refugee background experience inclusion in the Netherlands? As you know, the Netherlands has historically welcomed diverse waves of immigrants and refugees, sparking concerns about their integration and societal inclusion. And in this diagram, you see the changes, the different waves of Iranian immigration into Netherlands, as you see, from 90s to recent years. Recent research reflects a growing interest in exploring refugee entrepreneurship as a way to enhance the integration of refugees. The existing literature mainly focused on their economic integration into the labor market. However, the impact of entrepreneurship on the inclusion of refugees remain largely unexplored. So, first we start with distinguishing between two concepts, integration and inclusion. Integration process involves refugees' willingness to adopt the customs and lifestyles of host society, paired with the host society's readiness to provide access to employment, services, and overall accepting refugees in the social fabric. The integration literature often presumes that successful integration requires refugees to conform the host society's values and norms as a result of this approach to integration. Refugees who exhibit the higher levels of social interactions, cultural understanding, language proficiency, and conformity to local norms are typically seen as the most integrated. However, there is another approach to refugee integration or maybe inclusion in society. We focus on this approach. We call it inclusion, and that means inclusion study among refugee entrepreneurship goes beyond merely economic integration. Inclusion of refugees refers to the process of fostering their social incorporation through expanding opportunities, access to resources, experiences of belonging, well-being, and affirmation of human rights. Inclusion consists of two key dimensions: sense of belonging to a specific community and experiencing a sense of acceptance within the society, host society. Now we're talking about our specific group who are Iranian refugee entrepreneurs. Iranian refugee community in Netherlands is noted for its high level of integration into Dutch society, as evidenced by the factors such as education, participation in labor markets, the income levels, and also the integration or partnership or marriage with Dutch society compared to other ethnic immigrant groups. Iranians, they have the highest number of, highest number according to these factors. As most of you maybe know, the significant influx of Iranian refugees occurred throughout the 80s after revolution in Iran, and it makes the first wave of immigration of Iranians to the Netherlands. So, who are these groups? What we know about this group? Who is this group? These refugees predominantly consist of highly skilled and well-educated individuals from urban middle-class backgrounds who sought asylum due to political reasons. Now, nearly 40 years after their initial settlement, this group of Iranian refugees has become a well-established community with Dutch society, which makes the study of this their experience of inclusion, particularly relevant. The methodology of this research is based on thematic life story interviews conducted with 14 Iranian refugee entrepreneurs, both men and women, who immigrated to Netherlands in 80s and 90s. But the interviews conducted in 2019 and 2020. Iranian refugee entrepreneurs in Netherlands have navigated a complex landscape of challenges and opportunities at institutional level, which has significantly shaped their experiences of inclusion and exclusion over the last 4 decades. This research studies structural challenges and opportunities, focusing on navigating integration policies, accessing entrepreneurial support, and we discuss on these three areas of study. Navigating integration policies. Participants in this study have faced ambiguities within Dutch integration system. On one hand, the long integration process, restrictions on working hours for refugee and asylum seekers, and the homogenization of refugees under Dutch law integration have led to the feeling of exclusion. These policies often do not account for the diverse backgrounds and needs of refugees, which contribute to the sense of marginalization and systematic inequality. On the other hand, Dutch system also presents significant opportunity structures. Perceived gender equality is one of them, of course. The strong welfare system and the provision of Dutch citizenship, which offers the same rights as those offered to native Dutch citizens, have fostered a sense of inclusion and belonging for some research participants. The sense of inclusion has motivated some refugees to pursue entrepreneurship as a means of giving back to supportive system, as they were thankful and they wanted to give back to the system by their entrepreneurship and playing a proactive or agentic role in society. The contrast between the challenges posed by restrictive policies and opportunities provided by inclusive aspects of Dutch society highlights the complex and multi-phase nature of integration and inclusion and exclusion experiences for Iranian refugee entrepreneurs. Other aspects: accessing entrepreneurial support. Similar ambiguities persist within the Dutch system's support for entrepreneurs, despite efforts for streamline entrepreneurship process, such as the simplifying business registration through the Chamber of Commerce and the availability of support in municipalities. The Iranian refugee entrepreneurs face significant barriers. These challenges include, as you see here, the list of it: complex bureaucratic regulations, taxations, very complicated for them, insufficient economic support. Only one Iranian refugee entrepreneur could apply for a bank loan. The other people couldn't. And also, the municipality focus on rapid economic integration of refugees. And municipalities in Netherlands are very important for refugees. They are actually are between refugees and society, and they are responsible for finding job for them and send them to the labor market. And they focus only on just find a job, send them to any kind of job, and they don't consider the intersectional background or differences between refugees. So, limited access to opportunity structures such as incubator, especially the generation I interviewed with them. They came in 80s and 90s, and that time they didn't have that much organizations. The organization helped entrepreneurs to start their entrepreneurship. So it was another problem they faced that time. And a lack of intersectional approach to refugee entrepreneurship. I told you, what I mean by intersectional approach, that means they didn't consider the difference between refugees gender-wise, race-wise, ethnic-wise, religion-wise. No, they just homogenize them as a same group, and they have the same policy for everyone, which doesn't work because refugees with educational background and the people who know English, they are more able to have access to more resources, but refugees with more limitations. For example, women who came to Netherlands, they don't have that much opportunities men had, so they have more barriers to start their entrepreneurship or start their own business. But they didn't. Dutch system, they doesn't that much attention about the different backgrounds within them. These obstacles impede the setting up entrepreneurship, drain the energy and motivation of refugee entrepreneurs, challenge the sustainability of their business, and ultimately it can lead to societal exclusion. Effective programs must consider intersectional backgrounds of refugees to foster their integration and inclusion properly. Despite the different challenges, the interview entrepreneurs view entrepreneurship as a means of enhancing their inclusion in Dutch society. They perceive greater acceptance through their entrepreneurship in Dutch society, although this does not necessarily translate into a deeper sense of belonging to Netherlands. Societal perception of refugees. The interviewed refugee entrepreneurs has experienced varying societal perception of refugees. They have observed a decline in societal attitudes and opportunities for refugees in recent years, especially after 2000. They reported diverse experience of discrimination and exclusion. Generally, refugee entrepreneurs who compared their life in Netherlands with as refugees with lives of refugees in Iran felt a strong sense of inclusion within the Dutch society. This positive perspective is heavily influenced by the political environments of their country of origin, Iran, where they face significant limitations in accessing social opportunities and participating in political environments. Moreover, the integration paradox has been noted among the interview entrepreneurs. This paradox highlights that refugees who pursue higher education or careers often face more exclusion and discrimination in workplaces and universities. Initially, Dutch society seems very welcoming to refugees, but as refugees achieve greater integration through language proficiency, educational qualifications, and higher level employment, they experience a paradoxical situation. Despite their increased integration, they do not feel the expected inclusion, leading to feel of they are not part of society. As conclusion, we can say, despite the progressive improvements in institutional support and opportunity structures for refugee entrepreneurship in the Netherlands, these measures remain insufficient for fostering an inclusive society due to the lack of an intersectional perspective. This study illustrates the complex dynamics of inclusion and exclusion experienced by Iranian refugees through entrepreneurship in Netherlands, particularly at the intersection of integration policies, entrepreneurial support, and societal perception of refugees. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and if you are interested in this topic, you can read more articles. Other part of this project. Here I list two of them. They're published, and also you can see my email, so you can be in touch. Thank you for listening.
As I mentioned, this is an international baccalaureate school, and Persian students' knowledge of their mother tongue. This is the case of understanding Persian metaphors and proverbs, and the IB diploma programs students in Dubai. In this presentation, I will introduce the topic briefly with some research objectives, literature review, UAE's educational system, International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, the importance of the IB schools in Iran for Iranians in Dubai, the methodology I have used, the results of the metaphors, and the results of understanding proverbs, and conclusion with some references that I have used for this research. In the globalized world, with easier mobility of families across the globe and English as lingua franca, and with the speed of the advancement of technology and the desire of learning English, the mother tongue knowledge is disappearing slowly for those Iranian families who are resided in the UAE. And when I say UAE and Dubai, I interchangeably use them, so it means all in the UAE itself. In order to balance mother tongue and English proficiency, parents send their children to international baccalaureate schools. In the IB diploma program, it is allowed for students to choose mother tongue as a second language requirement to pass the diploma, high school diploma. This research is the third phase of the studies conducted by myself. The first one was teaching Persian literature by using music. The second one was generational and communicational gap between Persian teenagers and their parents. And the third one is the one that I'm talking about today. The aim of the paper is to study the effectiveness of including the Persian language as the second language requirement of the IB diploma program. And the focus is to understand whether this inclusion significantly improves and enhances the Persian language skills of Iranian students residing in Dubai. So the official language of the UAE is Arabic. English is the second language widely used in the society. And there are other languages also spoken in Dubai. Languages such as Hindi, Urdu, sometimes French, German, Spanish, and of course different dialects of Khudmuni language, which is a branch of Persian language for the southern Sunni minorities of Iranian who are resided in Dubai since 1950s. And by the year of 11 or 12 of the IB diploma program, most students are considered as native speakers of English. This forces mother tongue to become a heritage language and in which they have limited proficiency. But before going further, I would like to talk about UAE's educational system. So UAE has two diverse educational systems. The first one is free national education for Arab locals only, and the fee-paying international schools or education for expatriates. The number of expatriates in Dubai is 90% of the 10 million population of Dubai or UAE. The governmental body that overlooks the international schools proficiency is the Knowledge and Human Development Authority, and it with its yearly inspection and ranking of from satisfactory to very good. These schools are evaluated every year. Although there are no official documents provided by the government, the number of Iranians in Dubai is estimated over 500,000. And for this 500,000 population, we have only 6 Iranian schools. 2 of them offers IB diploma program, and these all 6 schools are under the supervision of government and Ministry of Education of Iran. Now, what is International Baccalaureate Diploma Program? So this diploma program targets students aged 16 to 19 in their final 2 years of the high school. The subject groups that these students are supposed to read or study is languages, individuals and societies, sciences, mathematics, and 3 core topics of TOK or Theory of Knowledge, Creativity, Activity, and Services, which is known as CAS, and Extended Essay. The goal is to raise an international, intercultural understanding and respect for diversity in the global world. For the IB's second language requirement, students are asked to study 9 books. These 9 books should include 3 different genres, 3 works in translation, and 3 works in different times. This has changed for the academic year of 2025-2026 to 7 sources. The examination includes an unseen paper 1, a comparative evaluative paper 2, and individual oral, which should be passed by the students. Now, why international schools or the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program is important for Persian parents in Dubai? The first, it has 2, to my knowledge, it has 2 different importance for parents. The first one is cultural. They believe that by preserving the mother tongue and Persian culture and roots through language proficiency, this could be a good option for their children. They also believe that learning Persian would be a way of bridging the generational gap between English-dominant children and Persian-dominant parents. that are living in Dubai. For educational reasons, English language and Persian, learning English and Persian to native fluency both preserves the mother tongue and gives access to English as lingua franca and for the future of the children. And also to raise a generation of bilinguals with an international mindset. To achieve this, parents are not limited to those 6 Iranian schools in Dubai, but any international school that offers the IB diploma program would suffice because they can have the second language option, mother tongue second language option, and of course they have to pay for private tutors to teach them Persian, and there comes teachers like me who have degrees in Persian literature and they can teach students. And this is the result of my own students that I work with. This is a pilot study. At first, there were only 14 my own students, as I said, but they talked to their other friends who were in IB schools learning Persian again as a second language option, and the number rose to 30. An online Google form questionnaire was sent to students to evaluate their skills in Persian language. The questionnaire had 23 questions, 8 general questions, 8 metaphor, and 7 proverb-related questions. The aim was to determine the effectiveness of studying mother tongue as the second language requirement of the IB diploma. And IBM SPSS software has been used to evaluate the data, which was added manually to the software. In this table, you can see the results of the metaphor. So the one that I highlighted is the one with the most incorrect answer, where so a metaphor as a literary device should be known by students who are studying Persian as a second language in IB diploma program. Metaphors, proverbs are considered as literary devices, and they are used commonly in Persian literature, especially in poetry. So they could not understand it. The one you can see in number 4 with 29 correct answer is not by chance, but this is a verse from Shahnameh, Haft-Khane Rustam, and this was one of the topics that I worked with my students. So they were familiar with the metaphor in this verse. That's why everyone could answer the question. But we can see in number 7, we have 15 incorrect answer, with number 5 with 13 incorrect answer. This shows that even though they know what metaphor is, they cannot detect it. It's not easy for them to detect metaphor in any kind of poetry, which has marks. You know, the word cho in the first verse, for instance, is a sign to see that this is a metaphor. That's a sign word for metaphor, so detecting metaphor. Results with proverbs is not so promising as well here. So you can see in the case of the highlighted, here, number 4 with 23 incorrect answers. They could not understand what the meaning of this proverb was. And number 11 and 12. And number 6 with 16 incorrect answers, which shows that they do not understand proverbs as well. So the first one or the second one, they use the common knowledge or just the logic. So first one, which is Badenjun Dora Qabchin, is a commonly used proverb in Persian households. Everyone talk about it. So they might be useful to it. That's why. And I use this on purpose to make sure that it's not a very difficult thing, but you have to understand it. Or the second one is just logic. Abba qarbal vardashtan. So they understand that qarbal is something that is a thief that we use, but they know that even if they don't know what is qarbal mean, they understand, okay, it should be something that is useless. So the point of this proverb is doing a useless thing. So it's just logical for them to answer it with 25 answers. They didn't know. After the questionnaire, I asked them, and they could not. They asked me what was the meaning of this. We just picked it like that. And sometimes they cheat. They go online. Yeah, they go online and they cheat. To conclude, I would like to say that I acknowledge that the number of participants in this research and any research that I have done is limited. And to have a meaningful result in this case, we need to have higher number of participants. 30, 25, even 100 is not enough. However, even with this small number, I can see the issue. As an educator, I can see that the students are not familiar with they just can speak the mother tongue. They do not have deep understanding of the uses of the language. In this study, I tried to highlight the pressing issue of mother tongue loss among Persian English bilingual students in Dubai. And although IB's second language option gives hope to parents that they can preserve the mother tongue, it is not enough. And since the students are bilingual, their competency in English is much better than their mother tongue. And this study shows that in the long run, a notable gap in deeper linguistic and cultural knowledge among the young generation should be expected, and further efforts is needed to bridge this gap if connection with ties and roots is desired by parents and educators like me. Thank you very much for your attention. These are some of the references I have used for this research.
You mentioned that you interviewed refugees from 80s and 90s. The question is, when did the refugees start the entrepreneurship? This is interesting to me because I myself, I'm a refugee of 90s, but in Germany, so it's good to know. And when did they face the complications you mentioned? Was it during the phase of refugee becoming a citizen? Was it after that? So because some of the problems you mentioned are for every refugee. So that's the question.
Thank you for your questions. They are very important. Actually, it gives me, your questions give me opportunity to talk about the bigger project I told you. Well, yes, this is, I told you, is a PhD project, and we focus on, main question was we compared the experience of refugee entrepreneurs in Netherlands. So Iranian refugee entrepreneurs, we focus on, we include them in that study. Mostly they come in 80s and 90s. There is a reason behind it, because they in that decades, Iranians were one of the biggest group of refugees in Netherlands, and we wanted to compare their experience with recent refugees, Syrian refugees who came after 2015. And by comparing their experiences, we wanted to understand how Dutch system has changed over decades. So yes, they are most of them. They actually all of them. They started their entrepreneurship before 2000s. So and as you said, yes, it's true. Some of these experiences, the problems and challenges they face. Is general for all refugees, not specifically because they are Iranians. No, it's not like this. But we focus on this group because we have them, and they are the biggest group of refugees in Netherlands that time. And also, of course, I have Iranian background. I have some personal reasons to do that. And I think I answered your questions. Or
I mean, the focus was on how the Dutch system changed during the time. The focus on that, or
In this topic, no. In this research, no. But yes, in one of another article I'm writing now, yes, the answer is yes. I am comparing the experiences, and the answer is the Dutch system shows ambiguity. On one hand, some aspects they streamline entrepreneurship. On the other hand, there are more barriers, we are not in ideal situation yet. But over years, for example, one of the opportunities is now we see a lot of incubator organizations in Netherlands. They are medium between refugees and official entrepreneurship institutions, entrepreneurial institutions. And but still there is no central program for refugee entrepreneurship in Netherlands. And the most responsibility is on the shoulder of municipalities. They are very powerful in for immigrants and refugees. Let's say for just refugees. And why? Because they are responsible for economic integration of refugees. So, and they have some programs for entrepreneurship, some supportive schemes, but it's very hard to access this. First, they are not it depends on which municipalities, because again in Netherlands, each municipality in different region, they have different authorities or different rights. Yes, it is one of the biggest problems. So if you live in a town or a small city, you don't have that much opportunity. But if you live in Amsterdam, you have, much more chances. And it's one of the reasons. The second reason is the trust between the contact person in municipalities and refugees. Somehow they don't trust the refugees, not because they are refugees, because they are newcomers and they don't know system very well. And it is a bit hard to give them. They said, for example, we don't want to make it difficult for them. We don't want to, they have a lot of debt and they can't pay back. It's some reasons. And still there are things to do,
Very good.
And I can go deeper. If you read the article and I explain it more, but here, unfortunately, we can't have the time.
What do you call them refugee, not immigrant?
Oh, yes. It's a good question, another question. Because of, recently, it is actually the main reason I start the field. We always have refugees and we always have immigrants, according to rights and limitations, legal-wise. Mm-hmm. In recent years, because the number of refugees is increasing around the world, some scholars emphasize on we need to distinguish refugees and then immigrants, because when you are immigrant, you have you will have different situation than you have different access to resources. You come legally in a country.
Does it mean that you have done your study among refugees, not immigrants?
Just refugees. Just refugees, because they have different resources, different capitals. They are ready to come to. They have planned to immigrate in a country. They have more money. They have.
Did you see the difference between the two groups?
Yes, it is. It is the main reason, and we only focus on refugees, not immigrants.
Your key concept is integration, and how do you define this integration? What basis do you use to define whether integration has been done, or is target for the refugee or immigrants? And what they define integration, what you define it, and what immigrants define integration means. People may keep a distance between themselves and the host families for a long time, for several generations, and still they can continue to exercise their own cultural values rather than to integrate within the culture, especially when you talked about the areas or characteristics of integration. You didn't mention about the legal act you refer to other aspects of behavior and societal needs or limitations or restrictions, but you didn't say anything about law. Do they need to respect certain laws that we consider as refugees or immigrants?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot because I see different questions here, and let's start with the first things. Integration, as you know, it's a really vague concept, and different scholars have their own definition. But I go back to the context I study, Dutch and Dutch context and Netherlands. According to Dutch integration, if you want to be a Dutch citizen, you need to pass 6 exams, inburgering exam they call it. That inburgering exam consists 6 exams, which 4 of these exams are language exams. Mm-hmm. And in Dutch integration system, language is the main focus is on language. They assume if you know language well, you integrate almost automatically because you can communicate better, you understand culture better, you can use media, everything you can understand. And you can find job. It's also very important. Tax mm-hmm. and paying tax in Dutch context is so important. So, yeah, but okay, we accept it. It's okay. It's a part of integration, definitely, but it's not whole the story. We still need to focus on the sense of belongingness. How the refugees, they feel they are part of society. So the current understanding of integration in Dutch society is usually based on the understanding of a Dutch understanding of integration. And it's based on the host society expectations, not refugee. It's not from refugee lens.
I see.
It's the problem. And it is why I shift from integration perspective to inclusion perspective. Why? Because in inclusion concept, we talk about how I feel as a refugee. I feel I'm a part of society. If I am a part of society or not. If I feel I'm accepted by society or not. It is the main reason I switch to inclusion. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, we should switch the lens. Of course. And I interview with why we focus on entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is not like a normal job. When you are employed, okay, you are work for somebody. But when you are entrepreneur, you create your place in society.
I see.
It's very important. I didn't mention here, but when I do interview with refugee entrepreneurs, all of them, they said, when I receive respect from other people, then I am in my business. When people that come to my store, they all respect me because I'm working, I'm paying money, and Dutch people, they are very sensitive because I live in Netherlands. They are very sensitive about if you are receiving social outgoing, they say, social support, or you are paying tax. You have 2 different categories. If they feel you are receiving outgoing or social support, you feel, I pay your tax, I pay tax, and you feel you live by that. But if it's different, I am paid tax. It's very strong sentence. When I interview with the refugees, because all the refugees, it's another difference between immigrant and refugees. When you are immigrant, I am immigrant. I'm paid by university because I study in university. But if it's like I'm doing something and I have salary. But when you are a refugee, for first year of living, at least for 3 years, you are rely on governmental support. And even your neighbors, they ask you, oh, still you're receiving outgoing. It is this. I don't want to go to the other topic, but immediately they put you in the lower position because, yeah.
Hi, I'd like to thank both speakers for their presentations. I have a question for Samaneh. Just for brief context, I moved to the Netherlands just over a year ago. I grew up in Canada. I'm coming from Canada, so my migration is a little bit not like a refugee at all. It was very standardized actually. And I went to the Netherlands to do my master's there. And in the time that I've been living there, I noticed some parallels between, you know, the Canadian kind of integration, multiculturalism, which is their official policy system, in comparison to the Dutch one. And just from my own experiences and from my own research, I had the opportunity to talk with Iranian activists who are currently have a refugee status in the Netherlands. So my question for you, and I don't know, this is more so like what I would like to know what your thoughts are on this, but do you think there is an oversight, a deliberate policy oversight in terms of this integration paradox, so that you're only able to acclimatize, integrate to a certain degree, and then beyond that, it's kind of falls into limbo? And in terms of that, I was also going to say, like, how receptive to inclusion do you think Dutch society is? I just want to see, like, about this integration paradox that you've identified.
Yes.
Do you think it is a deliberate policy oversight?
It is. It appears based on the just living after years in Netherlands. Honestly, I think Dutch government just focus on integration, and integration for them, they just ignore inclusion. It's the result of ignoring that, you know, the inclusion, the importance of inclusion. It doesn't mean there is no attempts in Dutch society for inclusion purposes. No, it doesn't mean that. There are a lot of articles, also NGOs, and trying to include refugees and immigrants in society. But it's deeper in society, because it over focuses on integration and economic integration. And historically, if you look at the first wave of not first, but the biggest group of immigrants into Dutch society, they were Turkish and Moroccan group. They were economic immigrants. And they even immigrant to Netherlands in 60s, 70s. Dutch policies, the Dutch government or Dutch system didn't have any plan to include them, because they labored as temporary or guest, workers. So they were expected to come back to their own country. So integration was not a problem that time. It was not a question that period. But after years and generations, when they stay in Netherlands, then concerns appear. So it was very new, somehow, not very new, but after 2000s, now they have serious issues about integration and inclusion. When they focus on integration, so we have now inclusion issue as well. So we need to emphasize on inclusion as well. And of course, integration acts, laws has been changed over years, because they want to improve it. It's the main purpose. For example, recently, after 2021, now they have different policy for integration. They categorize refugees and immigrants in different levels. First, they evaluate you based on your education, your so they have some criteria, and they send you to different route of integration, and it's mostly based on municipality. They have more authority now, municipality, to do that. So you see, they are trying to improve it, but we don't know yet how the recent changes help the situation. And the integration paradox, it's also, if you are interested in that topic, you can read Hala Qureshi, also she mentioned that, and more resources I give you. So,
all right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.